One of the things that I feel really strongly about is about this show, and what it might be able to do is give people who don't work in the theater an opportunity to be in the chair that I sit in when I'm in a rehearsal room, or when the writers are there, or the producers, and you sit against the wall and you're just in a rehearsal room and there's no costumes and no sets and no lights, and they're performing for you. And your job is to imagine what it might look like in its finished version.
You'll see the beginnings of that very long process in terms of the conception of early parts of the show, early songs, workshops, casting, you know, steps forward, steps back.
We've been through the workshop process and putting on a show quite a few times, so there are many elements of it that are actually from our own lives that, you know, get into the story.
I think they're showing some of the real background in terms of what actors feel like when they're auditioning and what the creative people are looking for. It's very, very authentic.
Some things we do have to take artistic liberties with, just so that we're not flying over the heads of people who don't understand, you know, our world. But for the most part, it's really grounded in reality as far as what it really takes to put up a Broadway show.
We wanted the music to be a vital part of the show in many different ways. It's always rooted in some kind of reality. No one ever just bursts into song in an elevator because they feel like it. There's always a number that they're working on, or a reason for the song to appear, and sometimes the reasons are psychological in the way that they would be in a musical.
The number at the end of the pilot, you start to realize it's the song that they're listening on their headphones, that they're rehearsing on their way to audition.
It's their audition song for the show.
But that is the first time where there's a little crack in that wall of, are we only going to be realistic in a room singing when... And little by little, each episode is experimenting more and more with ways to do every version of that kind of thing.
We're actually musicalizing Smash and not Marilyn so much. And Marilyn is this conduit for these stories of these people's lives and hopes. So it gets to cover a wide variety of styles. Some of it is very in the period, like a Marilyn production number would be like for Some Like It Hot, or when she meets Joe DiMaggio, there's a big baseball number.
There's like a mambo number, and there's like a fun baseball number. There's an amazing like Let Me Be Your Star that Ivy and Karen get to belt out. There's a lot of really, you know, a lot of dance numbers, a lot of big brassy dance numbers. There's a 1920s number.
We definitely have big numbers with full-on hair and costume and makeup and all the dancers and all that kind of stuff. So they're big production numbers. So you'll get a real taste of what Marilyn the Musical would actually look like in the context of our show.
Every day of working on the show, whether it was in pre-production or actually shooting the show, Teresa and Mark and Scott and Craig and Neil and I would just howl because we say, like, the way we're talking about making the show is exactly the way we talk about making a show. And I wish we, you know, it's like we should have tape recorders. You guys should be there. You should have been there, right, like a fly on the wall while we were doing it, because it completely mirrors the experience of creating a musical. That's how complicated and exciting and frustrating and difficult and joyous making this TV show was.